80% of victims of this are women. This is a women's rights issue. This is a women's health issue. 50% of all victims are children. Wow, we're not even addressing this. And then 20 to 30% at least are men and boys. Unfortunately, there are very few services out there for men and boys to heal. And then 13 is the number I want you to remember when you leave here. 13 is the average age of entry into prostitution, human trafficking, in the United States of America. Between 12 and 14 years of age is when it starts, typically. The definition of trafficking is when you recruit somebody, you manipulate them, you blackmail them, you threaten them into commercial sex or forced labor. Commercial sex is any sex act. It doesn't matter what it is. Escorting, what we also call prostitution, stripping, right? You do any one of those things in exchange for something of financial value, you just made that commercial sex. If you have a girl that's a runaway, she's on the street, and some guy comes to her and says, hey, you do this for me, I'll give you a Happy Meal, take you out for lunch, right? Give you a bed to sleep in. That's human trafficking. Universities. Now, why would college students be vulnerable to being trafficked? Do we have any college students here right now? Are you poor? Yeah, I mean, most college students are poor, right? Money, I heard that was a big issue. Anytime a college student sees something for free pizza, it's like, oh yeah, let's go, right? These traffickers know that, and they know how to get into the head of a college student. Now, why else would a college student be vulnerable? Parties, drug, alcohol is on campus, right? I mean, so easy to set your drink down and have somebody put something in it, and I can attest to that, right? Why else?
They're not plugged into their family.
You're right. Lack of social support, being away from home. So where specifically can you see this at? Anywhere children are. Anywhere. The newest area we're finding reports on are of the public libraries. Yeah. Malls, movie theaters, social media, grocery stores. A young lady told me one time, she says, Miss Flores, I work at this little kind of grocery store in the middle of a real rural area. And she says, one night I was being the cashier, and she said, an older lady came through my checkout lane and said, you're really pretty. I can make you more money than you make here. She said, but I had read your book, I knew what that was. And I'm so grateful that she did. Because what would have happened if she didn't know what that was? What would have happened if she had her car was breaking down, or her tuition bill had come in the mail? She would have gone for it had she not known. But as you can see from this, you know, most teenagers post their real name, where they live at, all right? Like she was saying, they make their age look a little bit older sometimes, all right? They post videos of themselves. These are things that make them very, very vulnerable. Because these guys are really good at what they do. And they can see somebody on there that maybe has like 10 friends. Oh, right? She's vulnerable, all right? Maybe they're from a separated family. They can tell from the pictures that they post, right? These guys are really good. So this is really interesting because we have to get better at knowing our kids' passwords and monitoring them. We've gotten lazy, right? And a good point that she made is, as a community, we have to get better at, if we see something suspicious, we tell the parent or tell the teacher. When people find out that I was a trafficking survivor and a survivor, they think, oh, what country did you go to? You know, they think like Taken. I mean, everybody has seen the movie Taken. And they think, nobody in America gets trafficked. But then they start to say, oh, Americans can get trafficked. But then they think that we must have been taken somewhere else. Like, no, I was just trafficked right out of my house in my suburb. Like, whoa, right? So, most people think you have to be kidnapped to be trafficked. That's actually only 3%. Only 3% are kidnapped. 35%, a third of all human trafficking survivors got trafficked because of a family member, right? And then 62% of all trafficking survivors, like my story, got trafficked because they got tricked by this older boy that just told them everything they ever wanted to hear. That easy. 90% of all prostitution charges are of the female. What is wrong with this? Right? It is illegal to buy a person and to sell a person. You can't do either in the United States. We need to start going after the guy. Which leads me to demand. The only way that we can stop human trafficking is to go after the demand. The only way. In our country, it's a misdemeanor if you buy another person. It's usually a $150 fine if you get caught, right? Some states like Oregon and Washington are changing how they do things. And now they're saying it's a $5,000 fine for the first time you get caught trying to hire a prostitute. Might make somebody think twice before doing that. Sure, you got to explain to his wife where $5,000 just went, right? Yeah. And John schools, having to go to an all-day school to find out why this is a bad decision, right? Some states have a $10,000 second-time offense, right? That will hurt somebody. This is public record. This is a misdemeanor, right? You see it on Facebook and everything when they do these stings, and they put every prostitute's face on there. But do they show the guys? No, they don't. That's what we need to change. We have billboards. We can post, an organization, a church can post these guys' pictures on the billboard, right? And say, he was just arrested for prostitution. Do you think that might change someone's mind about doing this? Put it in the Sunday paper, you know, where it says crimes that happened this week. That's what we need to get back to, is this just vigilante situation, because our children and our women are being victimized because of what we're not doing.